August 1916. A British infantryman stands at the base of the rear trench wall during a rapid withdrawal near the Somme. Sporadic German machine gun fire cuts overhead. The wall in front of him is about 2 meters high. The footholds have collapsed after recent rain. He drives the blade of his pattern 1907 sword bayonet into the soft earth above him, using the handle as a climbing grip and the blade as an anchor. The bayonet measures 432 millimeters in blade length, roughly 17 inches of carbon steel tapered to a sharp point, affixed to his Lee-Enfield rifle via the standard nose cap lug. The combined rifle and bayonet assembly extends 1,800 millimeters from butt to tip, longer than most of the men carrying it. He hauls himself upward using the bayonet as an anchor point, pulls it free, and keeps moving. No manual instructed this. No officer suggested it. The bayonet became a climbing tool because it was the longest rigid object he carried, and because the situation required climbing. This was one of roughly 40 documented secondary uses that British, French, and German soldiers found for bayonets during the war, most of which had nothing to do with killing at close range. Armies entered World War I issuing sword bayonets based on doctrine from earlier wars. The expectation was that an infantry assault would end in bayonet charges. Shock. Reach. Close combat. The British pattern 1907, 432 millimeters of blade, creating a total rifle length approaching an 18th century musket. The French Lebel bayonet, a 520 millimeter cruciform spike. The German Model 1898, a 500 millimeter sword blade. All designed for open field engagements where soldiers would meet at arm's length. That scenario essentially disappeared after September 1914. Trench warfare changed everything. Trenches were narrow, deep, confined. A rifle with a bayonet fixed was almost impossible to maneuver. Turning corners, difficult. Traversing revetments, awkward. The bayonet snagged constantly. Firing accurately from a parapet, complicated by length. The intended use rarely occurred. But the object, an extremely long, rigid steel blade, was always there, carried every day, through every routine of trench life. Improvised uses emerged quickly. The most common, a candle holder. Pressed into the trench wall timber, a bayonet became a stable mount. Candle wax residue is visible in photographs. Repeated use. A second common adaptation, a probe for unexploded ordnance. Investigating suspicious objects with a blade at arm's length was safer than using hands. The French spike bayonet was particularly suited for this purpose. The climbing adaptation near the Somme was physically demanding. Not all trenches had fire steps. Retreating soldiers faced vertical walls. A bayonet driven horizontally into earth created a grip 30 centimeters above ground. 2 bayonets formed a ladder. Unit diaries from 1915 and 1916 document this method. Informal tests showed 150 millimeters of penetration into earth and timber revetment could support 90 kilograms before shifting. The pattern 1907's blade length made this possible. Bayonets became field tools. Soldiers toasted bread over fires, impaling slices on tips. Opened tins when no opener was available. Severed rope. Pried open ammunition boxes. Cleared vegetation. German sawback variants cut timber. French spike designs punched holes in the equipment for repairs. None of this was official. All of it was common. Comparisons between designs revealed trade-offs. The German Model 1898, longer blade, heavier, 680 grams added weight. The French cruciform spike, excellent probe, poor cutting tool. The British pattern 1907, 490 grams, balanced compromise. American forces used similar length designs. By 1917, all were largely irrelevant for their intended combat role, but constantly useful for improvisation. By 1916, armies recognized the long bayonet's tactical irrelevance. Germany issued shortened versions, 200-millimeter blades, more manageable in trenches. British forces hesitated. Production commitments, doctrinal inertia. By 1918, assault troops carried shortened blades, trench knives, clubs, or no bayonet at all. The weapon designed for open field charges had no place in trench reality. The manufacturing investment was immense. Britain produced around 3 million pattern 1907 bayonets. Each required about 4 hours of skilled labor, Sheffield steel, heat treatment, grinding, polishing, wooden grips, leather scabbards. 12 million man-hours for British production alone. Most were never used in hand-to-hand combat. Fewer than 2% of recorded actions involved bayonet fighting. Most blades held candles, opened tins, probed mud, helped men climb. The British soldier who used his bayonet to climb out of a collapsing trench in August 1916 survived the war. He was one of 3 million who carried the pattern 1907. Most never used it to strike an enemy. Many used it to hold light in darkness. Some used it to climb. The weapon designed to win battles by driving steel into opposing soldiers spent most of its service life stuck in timber walls, dripping wax, waiting for a purpose that rarely came, and quietly becoming essential in ways no military planner had anticipated.